of course, this might not have been the best Super Bowl ad-wise, but at the same time, I don't think this was as bad as some people are saying. So I've been seeing some very mean comments on LinkedIn, like, "Oh my God, like fire all these creatives, like this, a lot of the ads were bad," and that's not true. I feel, for example, we are six panelists. Each one of us choose a different ad without knowing which others. So I feel that's already shows like there were a lot of good ads, but at the same time, I feel what happens is like we have some unrealistic expectations that every single ad will be great, and that's simply not true. It's not easy to come up with a great idea, and I feel sometimes, like clients come with last minute requests for this. This takes time, so we sometimes some brands goes to the safe shortcut that is like lots of celebrities and absurd humor, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like what makes the best ads is when this humor or the celebrities, they are packaged around like a concept that is tied in a unusual way to benefit of the brand. So I know we're going to talk about CeraVe, but for example, that commercial has celebrity, is absurd, but it only works because in the end there's like this made by dermatologist, not Michael Cera. So very strong thing on that. I also feel like the ads that really pushed this was like the ones that told a story. And one technique that I saw a lot is what we call in creativity take to the edge of madness. That is basically we start with something that is already weird, but you keep going, going, going. That's what makes that unique. So for example, there was that Paramount Plus mountain one that it could be very flat, but I feel because they took it to some absurd levels, it just got a little bit more interesting. And another thing that I guess is interesting is these are things that are valued that make sense for any spot, right? But on the Super Bowl, I think there are some strategies that you can do that are specific for this moment. So, for example, referring to the game. So the Bud one, it ended with people going to the Super Bowl, and then on the broadcast you see the people actually on the stadium. There are some that are like meta-linguistic, right? So Reese had people watching the game, and it's just like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And then there's my favorite ones, and I'm going to touch when I talk about my personal one, is when instead of making people feel something, you make them do something. So giving an example from previous years, there was that Tubi one that looked like the TV was changing, and then everyone was doing something. There was the QR code one. So I feel you can just go for a good spot, like the regular receipt to do a good spot, but there are specifics for the Super Bowl that can make it bigger and make sense for this moment. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I feel like that's a shortcut that sometimes we take, but I always compare this to when people say superhero movies are saturated, and I don't agree with that. I think it's just like people are doing bad superhero movies, and that's the same here. Like I feel for like some of the best ads use celebrities. So like the Schwarzenegger one, you could not do that without Schwarzenegger. The Michael Cera one, you could not do it with that. But sometimes it's like, oh, let's just lap a celebrity, and that doesn't work. And there's even an example for me that was interesting. I love the Doritos ad, but I felt like it didn't need Jen Ortega. Like the two abuelas, they were the stars of that, and I was like, oh, why they added Jen Ortega? You don't really need her on this. And I wouldn't like people to call that like the Jen Ortega ad. Like that's the abuelas ad, right? So that's how I feel. I feel it's not right or wrong. It's like good usage.
Enter this promo code here for a chance to win stuff from all of the ads. DoorDash-all-the-ads-2024- promo code. DoorDash can DoorDash pretty much anything. Dash a new Kia EV9, dash peanut butter M&Ms, dash Dinamita, dash Mountain Dew Baja Blast, dash BMW i5, dash Popeye's Chicken, dash YouTube TV, dash Oreo, dash Dove, dash Lit, dash Love, dash I am not going to read all of this. It's a very long promo code. Just enter it at this website. Oh, and there's more.
When I saw this one, I already knew like, okay, this is by far my favorite. And there are a lot of reasons. One, because it's refers to the Super Bowl in a very specific way. So like every single ad, I feel it was very brave. So if you enter on the website, they were actually giving coupons for Uber Eats, and they were saying we didn't want to do this, but we set all the ads, right? So it's very bold. It's like acknowledging they have a competitor and not being afraid of that. But what makes this great for me is what I was saying. This one, like I laugh, I found it hilarious, but was not just feeling something, was doing something. So basically, what you had to do was basically to capture everything the guy was saying, but at the same time he stopped saying, and you just need to write everything. I had so much fun with this. So like after the game, me and my girlfriend, we went on YouTube and we were like, first we were stopping and writing everything. And then in the last part, we put velocity 0.25 because it just goes like it's very long code. So we were picturing frame by frame, started taking pictures and just copying. So when you make people talk about it, and then I went to Reddit and people were like sharing knowledge on this. So that's something that for me was great. It was like it's not just something that happened, but something that create community and make you just have fun outside of that. So that's the main reason. And of course, as I was mentioning, was not just because like this delivers on what DoorDash is, right? That delivers anything. So that's why basically the reward is every single thing advertised. So you could get they were giving some crazy things like 50 million, sorry,
BWs.
$50,000 down payments on your mortgage. So it was just really funny, very meta and very specific. That's not something that you could do at any other place but the Super Bowl.